Friends, I'm sure most of us are pretty concerned about the heat wave which we were subjected to this year, particularly from April, May. Things are not better even today. I'm just trying to look at the basic reasons. In fact, most of us are pretty aware of the general climate change conditions and the global warming, things like that. But I was pretty curious to know what is so specific about this year, or is there anything specific, and what is the future. I just going through certain research analysis and the analysis of the reasons, the root causes of such climate changes which is happening, the heat waves which is happening, which we have encountered, especially particularly this particular year. So I'm just trying to consolidate certain findings which is available in the open source. Essentially, we should understand that heat wave is a period of abnormally high temperatures, more than the normal maximum temperature that occurs during a particular period of time. Typically, heat waves occur between March and June, and in some rare cases even extend up to July. The extreme temperatures and the resultant adverse conditions adversely affect the people living in these regions, sometimes psychological issues and sometimes even up to death. If you go through certain studies gone behind the reasons for the heat waves, we can understand there are certain basic reasons. First one is basically the natural weather patterns. This is especially due to the high pressure stalling over a particular region. This actually traps the warm air near the Earth's surface. Thus prevents the cooler air to moving in and the hot air going above. This leads to extended hot periods. In science and physics, we must have talked about the temperature inversions, the hot air being trapped under a particular geographical situation, which can also happen due to particular natural weather condition in a particular region. One more major reason for such heat waves is the climate change, which is a topic of keen interest nowadays across the countries. This could be an underlying cause for heat waves. The global warming, primarily driven by human activities, such as burning of fossil fuels and various other activities. And we know that this actually increases the Earth's surface temperature, the average temperature. Thus, a climate change can actually make heat waves to occur more frequently and become more severe. So, we can say that while a specific heat wave condition can be triggered by a high pressure system or the natural weather pattern, the overall trend of the increasing heat wave conditions could be actually linked to the climate change, which is a more likely reason. Now, looking at the specific condition of the heat wave which we encountered during April-May, in India particularly, there is one more likely reason attributed to that. That is actually a phenomenon called El Niño. In Spanish, actually the word means Christ child, El Niño. This actually refers to the warming of the ocean surface or the above average sea surface temperatures in the central and eastern Pacific Ocean. It's a known fact that El Niño can affect Indian monsoon and the Indian weather conditions. El Niño occurs when warm water builds up along the equator in the eastern Pacific region. The warm ocean surface warms up the atmosphere, which allows moist-rich air to rise. There is also another phenomenon called La Niña. El Niño and La Niña are two different phases of naturally occurring climate phenomenon, which actually affects to more dramatic year-to-year climatic changes. El Niño is typically characterized by warmer climatic temperatures, whereas La Niña are typically cooler climatic conditions. Actually, El Niño phenomenon occurs regularly over the years. If you look at the history, typically in every 2 to 7 years this occurs, but there's no specific schedule or somebody can really predict in advance. The cyclical weather conditions of El Niño involves abnormal warming of Pacific Ocean and disrupts global weather patterns. Especially in India's case, it leads to hotter and drier conditions, thus contributing significantly to the heat wave conditions. So coming back to the heat wave condition which we experienced in India this year, it could be due to any of these three reasons or a combination of all three, or contribution from all the three. Some parts of India definitely experiences the high pressure conditions, particularly in the central and the western regions, experience high pressure hovering over the atmosphere, thus trapping the heat at the Earth's surface and preventing cooler air to come in. The stagnant air actually gets compressed and gets heated up more. And of course, the climate change caused by the human activities, primarily the greenhouse gas emissions, are definitely causing the planet to warm up. Thus, the overall global temperature rise makes the heat wave conditions worse. While El Nino can be a contributing factor this particular year, but the general heat wave conditions can be caused more due to climatic change conditions. Experts actually predict that the El Nino condition can go up to August this year and may weaken after August. The El Nino Southern Oscillation (ENSO) phenomenon can cause what are called the El Nino years, usually characterized by weak rains and hot wave, whereas La Nina years are often cooler and wetter. So definitely there is a difference of opinion among the scientists also, which is the more prevalent reason. One group of scientists still argue that the climate change is the predominant contributing factor, but we know that India's tryst with the heat wave conditions is not at all. Many parts of India are still subjected to heat wave conditions. So let us come to the concluding part, looking at what is in the future. Scientific evidence actually suggests that there could be further rise in temperatures from next year onwards. Main reason could be the global warming momentum. The Earth's surface is known to have some inertia. Even if the entire greenhouse gases are stopped as of today, which is definitely an unrealistic scenario, but still, if you imagine like that, global temperatures would likely to increase further still for several decades due to the built up heat already trapped in the atmosphere. But unfortunately, the greenhouse gas emissions are still on the rise. This ongoing trend will definitely fuel global warming getting more and more severe and definitely contribute to rising in temperatures. Renowned organizations like World Meteorological Organization predict that for the next 5 years, that is 2000 up to 2027-28, could be some of the hottest years in the record, with a high chance of exceeding the 1.5 degree warming threshold set by the Paris Agreement. While natural fluctuations can occur year to year, the overall trends actually points towards more and more warming of the planet. So it's not a pretty good condition. The only thing I can put on record here is that each one of us should try to contribute to alleviate the global warming in whatever small way we can do. Try to reduce the global warming rate. Thank you.